Hey, what's up, guys? You got Crave here, and yep, Mankind Divided is coming out in less than 4 weeks. So let's go ahead and check out the first game in this. Well, I think it's going to be a trilogy, which is actually this whole recent game, Deus Ex games. It's actually just a prequel to Ion Storm's work in the early 2000s. Now, I think you might want to buy this game first before Mankind Divided, or just have this video serve as a preview to Mankind in case you wanted to jump straight into part 2 when it launches. Now, Human Revolutions is, well, it's a first-person stealth and combat gameplay experience. Now, it retains most of the qualities from the first Deus Ex game, but of course, with Eidos Montreal's own flavor inserted into it. Now, the game has very good stealth mechanics and combat. They're both really good. But one of the very strong aspects of Human Revolutions is the emphasis on its story, which pretty much just permeates all throughout the game. Now, in terms of what's going on, the technology in Human Revolutions is less advanced than in the original games where it had nanotechnology. Now, Human Revolutions deals with mechanical augmentation technology. So it's basically tech or technology that is added to replace certain human parts, basically to enhance an individual, or if, let's say, you lost some limbs and you're unable to walk, so that's it. It basically grafts mechanical technology into your body so that you can perform your normal functions or enhance your normal functions. Now, this augmentation tech and how it affects people is the crux of the game's theme. Now, of course, there are people who believe that augmentation is the way forward for humanity. We need to be able to better ourselves and things like that. While, of course, there's another group that sees it as sort of meddling with natural evolution and the normal way of life. And one thing about the latter group is they're against this whole augmentation technology is that the body has a normal tendency to reject certain foreign substances. I think that's all pretty well known when you take up your biology classes. So it's in the game, if you want to be able to have your body accept any mechanical augmentations, you'd have to take a certain drug, and that drug is costly. So that's just one thing to add to the latter group who opposes mechanical augmentation. Now, in this Deus Ex game, the main character you play is Adam Jensen. Now, right off the bat, and just like that at the start of the game, a certain event just pulls you into the world of augmentations by being, well, outfitted with your own enhancements, which makes for some very interesting gameplay. If you played Crisis, that will make augmentations feel very familiar, although instead of a suit in Crisis, the augments are grafted onto your body. Now, you're able to do a number of things in the game. What you're able to cloak, you're able to let's see, prevent falling damage. You're able to, let's see, lift objects that no normal human being would be able to do so. You're able to track enemies behind walls, like in Assassin's Creed games and so on. And yeah, a whole host of abilities. Now, all these are restricted based on the amount of energy that you have, which can also be enhanced. So like I said, it's pretty much like Crisis, where you have to manage your energy usage if you want to stay in cloak for a longer period, and things of the sort. Now, getting into the game, the main story is very intriguing, and it can really just pull you into Adam Jensen's world. Now, in terms of the role you play as Adam Jensen in the story of Human Revolutions, you're basically a pawn and of different individuals, powerful individuals, and at the same time, in spite of being a pawn, you are a very strong influencing factor in how the war between the two camps or ideologies progresses. It's really up to you which side you want to go with. That makes for some very interesting choices that you have to make in the story or in the game. Now, there are also a host of side missions you can get into, which are very interesting. I think from experience in replaying the game during the Steam sale and from years back, although never mind my memories from years back, it's pretty bad. From the recent game, recent playthrough I did, finishing it, most of the side missions are pretty compelling to take, so they're quite interesting. It's not like in other games where they're quite kind of boring. Now, however, in terms of the number of side missions, and when you compare it to how RPGs are nowadays, you may find the number of those missions to be a bit mediocre. I'd say they could do with a little bit more side missions per section of the game, but yeah, overall, still the side missions, even though they're very few, they're very solid by themselves. Now, in terms of progressing the main story, there are many options on how you can do it. Now, for a vast majority of the game, you can complete missions without being seen by anyone and without basically killing anyone. You can just sort of stun people or take people down. And it's always been my preferred playstyle, which is why I think that the end of most chapters are a bit, no, okay, they're not a bit, but they're really a letdown, because you have to, go after certain bosses or engage in boss fights, and it sort of breaks the immersion that you have or the playstyle you wanna do in the game. And according to Eidos Montreal, the developer, they mentioned that they want to make sure that stealthing, quote unquote, stealthing your way all throughout the second game will be possible, and that's a good thing to hear. Now, in terms of the ending, it's, well, not as much of a letdown as the boss fights, but it's still a bit of a letdown, and I won't spoil it here on what happens, but let's just say that the ending, mechanics-wise, it's as bad as a certain Part 3 in a futuristic trilogy, which everyone just really got really mad about it. So, yeah, just to let you know, you might be surprised about the ending. It's not as amazing as you think it would be. Still, overall, Deus Ex Human Revolutions, in spite of those two things I mentioned, I think the two things I didn't like, it's a really fantastic game. Even though it might look dated, especially in some conversations, so the way the characters, while they're talking, just bob their heads in different directions, and the gestures of the bodies are pretty much just repeated the same time every time. It reminds me of a recent game, Technomancer, the way conversations are between the NPCs and the main character. It feels a bit awkward, but it's still worth playing, especially, before Mankind Divided comes out. I really just highly recommend you purchase it and experience Adam Jensen's story for yourself before Part 2. So anyway, before I give out any important details to Human Revolutions, I guess I'll end it here, and I just want to say that I'm very, very excited for Mankind Divided. The initial information we're getting out of it and the information leading up to its launch has been pretty good. I just hope it really won't disappoint. So anyway, thanks for watching this, guys, and I'll talk to you soon.